Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to How Love Bites. My name is Dennis. I'm going to be introducing you to a subject that I think is, I don't know about close to all our hearts, but it's certainly one out there that needs to be talked about. And that is how to get him to stop texting or her and just call you instead. I don't know why the dreaded phone call is always such a problem. I know there's probably security reasons and other reasons, but, you know what? Rather than discuss it on the front end, let's talk about it, okay? So, you keep using your thumbs when all you want the other person to do is just open their mouth so you could hear their voice. Because sometimes a voice can reveal so much about a person, from fingernails on a chalkboard to, oh baby, you sound wonderful. And then, of course, if you go back to the pictures, and if the pictures are current, you might be preparing a nice launch into a possible relationship, or maybe at least you'll get through a meet and greet. And sometimes if just getting through a meet and greet can be a hurdle. So after the first date or two, it's real easy to get stuck in the texting trap with someone, and it be that either a guy or a girl. You endlessly ping messages back and forth, but sometimes he never picks up the phone to have a real conversation. So you just keep flirting and chatting over text, never really moving up a level to talking on the phone. And that gets so old. And, you get frustrated because sometimes you might drop a little bit of a hint, like, wow, I really wish we could go to the telephone. I mean, I don't know what kind of hint that is, but so anyway, so how do you get them to stop stalling and start dialing? That's what we want to do here. We want to find some way to do that. So there's three major tips for making him pick up the phone. Okay, so we're going to look at this from a girl's perspective, a woman's perspective. So, and what you want to do, tip number one, is give him positive validation for picking up the phone. So, positive reinforcement. And it works well, works wonders in so many areas of communications with guys. Here the rule is no different. Make him feel how amazing and exciting and sexy it would be if he phoned you, or if you guys could talk on the phone and just hear that voice. That's really your ticket, is that voice. So I also believe that, for instance, say to him, hey, stranger, I miss your lovely voice. And then, oh, wait a minute, I don't believe I've heard your voice. Maybe I should. What do you think? Or I haven't heard your sexy voice in forever. And it gets them to realize that the best way to make you happy is to speak to you. So, I mean, if this guy's thick as a brick and he's not getting it, I don't know if you want to be with this person in the first place. Maybe he's got a reason why he doesn't want to speak to you. Maybe he sounds like Pee Wee Herman, and maybe that's not a bad thing. I think, ladies, you all remember Pee Wee Herman and that voice. Oh boy, Mr. Bill. Hello, how are you? And then you'd have Barry White. Maybe he sounds like Barry White. And then, you'll never want to hang up. And I wonder where I heard that before. But it gets him to realize that the best way to make you happy is to speak to you. And if he can't see you in person right now, he's going to want to call you instead. So call him out of it. I want to let you in on a secret about men. It's hard for me to admit this, but here it goes. Here's a secret about men. every man in the back of his mind is hoping you'll tell him what to do. And that is a fact, Jack. And sometimes if that's from, going to or about going to a restaurant or going to picking a carnival, a festival, a live music to hear, guys always want a little bit of a hint, like, where are you? Because they want to come in smoking. They want to be able to hit you right between the eyes and say, I read it in your eyes, baby. You wanted to see Led Zeppelin. And I put them back together just for you. Yeah, we wish. But does that sound ridiculous? That's what guys are hoping, is that you'll tell them what to do? Does it sound contradictory to everything you've heard about men? Aren't guys supposed to be freedom, living, loving, and hate being directed by women? Okay, all right. Let me explain. When I say guys want to be told what to do, I'm not talking about nagging or harassing them or, telling him how to live his life. Guys don't want to be nagged, okay? Zero. Guys do not like nagging. But they want to be told what's expected of them. And that is a real, true, inner desire, I guess, of guys, is they want to know what is expected of them. What are they supposed to do in this case? So if you want to call a guy, or you want a guy to call you, you must show him that you expect it of him. You have to shine a light on the fact that this is the standard you hold for the man you want to date. Okay? So let him know that. I've noticed that women often evade directly telling men what they expect because they've been conditioned to believe that being upfront about their expectations puts them in a category of a high-maintenance woman who is demanding, or the needy girl who hangs on his shoulder and cares too much. But you only acquire these labels if you approach it the wrong way. So, a key idea, okay? Communicating your expectations, as long as they are reasonable. Now, remember, they must be reasonable. Is not needy, not high maintenance behavior. It simply expresses what matters to you. This is something you never need to apologize or feel badly for. So, how do you communicate your standard in the best way? Well, here's one way you can call them out. In a cute way, but a cool way. Okay? You can say, I've noticed something about you. Then when he says, what? You respond, you love texting. Okay? So, this is a good way of pointing out the fact that all of your interactions have been via text. And sometimes a guy won't even have realized that himself because he's just going along. If that's the speed you're going at and that's what you're doing, and if he really, really likes you and wants to be part of an experience with you, then, he's just going to do it and just keep going along until somebody puts the brakes on. I try to, as early as I can. I certainly don't want to offend anyone, but it also, giving him a gentle nudge is a good way to start taking things further and making him call you. So, and he may say something back to you like, what do you mean? So you, on the other hand, say, just that. I think I've forgotten the sound of your voice. LOL. Okay, we know what that means, right? Okay. So he may play dumb, but he's got the message. Don't worry. This guy's got the message. I mean, unless he's a total pooch. And if you got a pooch, sweetie, what are you doing there with a pooch? Okay? A lot of people out there, a lot of fish out there, and that's no plug for the POF sites, whatever they are, POFs, right? Yeah. So, but, so like I said before, guys secretly want to be told, not a lot, just a little bit, what to do. One way to do this is to use what we call an embedded command, okay? Now pay attention, this is interesting. Quite simply, this involves placing a direct order at the end of a text message. For example, to return to our earlier message, you could say, "Hey, stranger, I miss your voice. Call me." Notice that this is the same example from tip number 1, except all we have done is added the words, "call me." So that may be what it might take. You can also do this by shooting this reply when he texts you. "Hey, I'm in a gym class at the moment, but I'll be around tonight. Give me a call." Nice. I like that. You're letting them know you're out there working out, even if you're not. Of course, we're not out to deceive, but we certainly want to boost our identity, our presence, the best we can. So, or you can even say something like, "Look, I'm just out with friends for dinner. I'll be back probably about 8. Give me a call later if you're around then." And another thing you could say, "Hey, I was thinking about you today. I'm busy for the next couple of hours, but I'm around this evening. Give me a call." Notice again, you've already planted the idea of him calling you. You've set the terms and embedded your expectations. After the moment when a guy gets your number for the first time, the truth is, a guy often feels a lot of awkwardness about just picking up the phone and calling straight away. I personally don't, and would personally like that to be my first point of contact if I were in the dating business. Wait a minute, I am. Okay, disregard. It's a high-pressure moment for him as well. So remember, your encouragement helps him break the seal of awkwardness that plagues that first phone call. Most guys stick to texting by default because it feels safe. And if you just let him know that you're happy to be called on the phone, a guy will follow suit. Again, 100%. Remember, there's always the pooch or the pooches out there. Okay, so we got to keep it a little funny, right? Because if you're not laughing, oh boy. Okay, you're just casually putting it in at the end of the sentence, and in the example above, which was your encouragement helps him to break the seal of awkwardness that plagues that first phone call. So it's that concept that you're running with here. You perfectly hit the sweet spot of being sweet and feminine, while also issuing a command that gets the result you want. You show the two unique pairings of femininity and dominance. Okay? So, you don't have to choose between being one or the other. You really don't have your cake and eat it. And it makes the guy fall for you even more when he sees both these qualities at play. Okay, so the femininity and the dominance. Don't let the dominance get a little too nuts, though. Because guys are going to pick that up and they're going to go, "Oh, she's a little dominating." But I'm sure you can handle it, baby. I have faith in you. All of you, for that matter. So, attach pleasure to calling and pain to texting, okay? So look at it that way. As well as the previous mentioned tip of getting him to want to call you by associating pleasure in hearing his voice, you can also make him feel worse for texting. You hate to have to go there, but if that's what it takes to get him off that doing the thumbs, by all means, give him a little tap on the chin, wake him up, show him, "Hey, look at a geese over there," and just give him a little tap. All that when you meet him. Okay, moving right along. That was another show, I think, I was doing. Okay, so I remember how a diabolical genius of a woman did this to me once. Though whether she did it intentionally or not, I'm never going to know. It began when I called her once, and she answered right away with, "Hey, I missed hearing your sexy accent. And I thought, sexy accent. I got a Chicago accent. What is she talking about? So immediately, with this one phrase, she accomplished two master strokes. She shone a light on the fact that I hadn't called her much or spoken to her. So I'm thinking, is she talking to me or is she talking to someone else? And she made me feel great for having phoned her by sweetly saying she missed hearing my accent, and which had to be Chicago. Okay, because my Middle Eastern accent's a little lame, and, I could do the Johnny Cash, and once in a while, Johnny, maybe someday we'll do those. But I then replied, I missed yours too. We haven't spoken in a while. To which she then responded, I know. We're like pen pals who just write to one another. Okay, without saying too much about that, this was the nail in the coffin for me. The phrase that absolutely killed me. It sounded terrible. It was like, that's what I am? I'm her pen pal? Only preschool children have pen pals. I felt like a silly kid for just texting and never calling. With one stroke, she made me feel massive pain about texting her. And she made me calling on the phone seemed most adult and sophisticated. See what I mean about diabolical genius now? See? Pay attention, boys and girls. Well, for this one, mostly the girls. When you make him realize he'll get much more enjoyment by speaking to you. And as long as you let him know it's okay to call, and that's something else, you got to let him know. Hey, I'm open to a phone call. Not always do the other gender, ladies, females out there say, oh, hey, call me anytime. I'm around, I'm available. Because there always seems to be some sort of calendar schedule. I'll be off the radar for 2-3 days. But anyway, back to business. But by the way, if I were ever slipping in my calling her instead of texting, all she needed to do was write, how's my favorite pen pal? Bingo, right? Right between the eyes. Bing. And I instantly resolved to call her at the first opportunity. And I'm not saying there's not a need for texting. There is. Especially when you're going through a day and maybe you don't have time to text, or you just want to shoot her a one-liner and tell her you miss her, and tell her that you're thinking about her. She's right she's in the frontal cortex, man, and then that's a place where she's going to pop up a lot. So there is a place for texting. I'm not saying there isn't, okay, but so there are two quick techniques we can bring into play here, okay? So, pre-frame how sexy it is when a man calls you for a date, okay? Our good old friend, the pre-frame. I hope you're beginning to see how useful this technique is for so many different things. Okay, so the first time you were on a date with him, pre-frame the idea that a guy calling you for a date is hot. And just let him know. Just say, man, I think, a guy calling and saying, hey, what are you doing? How about dinner? How about a movie? How about just getting together and seeing what you want to do or what I want to do? Or how about a dog fight, if we could find one in the neighborhood? Okay, all right, never mind. Let's back up. Get real again. Okay, I can do that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's such a rare and sexy thing when a guy actually calls to arrange a date instead of texts. And I think that's true. I would certainly go with that. It's so funny because barely anyone does it, and it immediately makes a guy stand out and seem like more of a man. I mean, because I think that's what a man would do. He'd call her on the phone and he'd ask her out. I don't get it why guys don't realize how powerful that is. Women will immediately find them so much more attractive. And guys, if you can get your girls, to find you more attractive, don't waste any time, okay? the next time he wants to arrange a date with you, this little thought of yours is going to come charging back into his mind. When he does text you for a date, say this. Let's say he reaches out to you and arranges a date, or tries to arrange a date. Okay? You text back. I'm a little old-fashioned, so if you want a date with me, you're supposed to call me and ask me. Okay? And then put a little smile, maybe a little X for a little kiss. This is bold, okay? I agree. It's bold, but what are you waiting for? Time's not going to wait for you. This is bold, but that's why it works. You're a woman who knows what she wants. It isn't, it isn't about her being afraid to say it, but, and don't be afraid to say it. That's the bottom line. And what guy could resist that? The added bonus is that when someone arranges a date with you over the phone, they are much less likely to, flake away. Okay? An arrangement is made by texting is far easier. It's easier to renege on. Okay, it is. Easier for people to cancel on because of the more detached nature of it in the first place. Text arrangements can be broken without too much feeling. But calling makes the connection real and therefore more concrete. Right? Okay. Anyway, so I think that in this case, get to the phone as often and as soon as you can. I mean, some tricks from a security perspective is if you're worried about him having your number, okay, what you can do is you can call him, get his number, and then dial 67 star. I believe it's 67 star, and that will give you a private line into him. And with that private line, you're going to be able to have a phone conversation with him, but his caller ID is going to see it coming in as a private phone call. So it won't be displayed as caller ID. So I'm thinking that may be another way to go. Or, if you'd like, you can go out to Google Voice and you could obtain a phone number with your local area code. And you can have it assigned to you. You can forward it to your phone number. And then you can completely, if you'd like, on any of these sites or this site or whatever your preference is, you can use that phone number and just give them that phone number. And that's a phone number you can cancel. But it will forward to a landline or it will forward to a mobile phone number. So you don't have to give them your number. But by God, ladies, get away from the texting. You're really going nowhere. You're spinning your wheels. You'll figure out maybe a few things about the person, but not until you hear that voice, not until you hear that vibrational rate coming across on the telephone, and then the words behind it. Those are what are really going to give you a clue into some sort of an identity of who you're dealing with. So, by all means, okay, get away from the texting. Get yourself a Google Voice number if you have to. And happy dating, happy relationships. Stick with How Love Bites, because you're going to get information you won't find anywhere else and probably other people aren't talking about. So we'll be giving you tips and clues as we go forward. And thanks for joining me. I'd say have a great weekend, but you could be listening to this in 2025. Anyway, thanks.